So as a young actor, there's not a lot of times where you have a lot of lines. So I was actually doing an appearance on SNL, and I was like 10. And there was this joke that Jack Black had, and I didn't have a line in the scene. But I didn't feel like that meant I couldn't be active in it. So I could listen and I could respond. And I was like 10 years old. And I found a look. And I found a response after something he did, and it got a laugh that it wasn't supposed to get. Wow. And something clicked in my head that was like, I can always listen. No matter what's on the page, I can always listen. And it's not scripted for Abbott, it's just listening. I can't plan it. It's something I have to find in the middle of the scene. I remember that day distinctly. Yeah. I remember there was this interesting feeling of mild intimidation, but then also inspiration. That was the day I realized that certain people are just really good at this comedy thing. I remember you came out with like 6 or 7 different alts for that line.
Wow.
And I'd never seen that before. I'd never seen somebody go into a room, come out, give a line, and it was a heater. Go back out, come back out. And it was my favorite one. I remember it was Two-Toned Runt. You called me a two-toned runt, and I was like,
what is a two-toned runt?
Two-toned runt, and it was the rhythm of it was perfect, and that was like, I remember that day distinctly of being like, oh, I need to get really good at this, because there are people who are very, very good at this.
And how old were you then?
12?
They were doing a production, a Kurt Weill production with La Telenia.
Oh yeah.
And at that time, this is back right after the war. It was like 1945. Can you imagine?
Wow.
My God, I'm an old person. Anyway, they wanted, they were doing this production, and then they wanted a little boy, and she happened to have a little boy. So I went and auditioned. They had me walk across stage 1 time, 2 times, and they said, "Thank you, Billy, that's fine." And I said, no, I wanted to do it again. Something touched me at that moment.
Right.
And I did, and they didn't want me to do it again, but I started crying. So I always say that I cried my way into show business. You know, you just live from moment to moment and do what you have to do, and expect things to not always go your way. Yeah. And you just find the ways to be innovative. And you find ways to counter whatever you're up against and move forward. You know, I had great parents, you know, my mother, my father, mommy, daddy, grandmommy.
Yeah.
My sister, I had a twin sister.
Oh.
Lady. And they were just really wonderful people to be around, and very inspirational, and eccentric. We were very prideful people. You know, we never let anything get in the way. You invent, you create.
Go along, yeah.
You know, you become part of the science of the universe.
You play a part, right? You know, you're required to play. That's what you're to do. And so sometimes the idea of working and acting is sort of antithetical. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the thing that I hate is the idea that storytelling is that it's sort of facile. I don't like that anymore. I used to think that, you know, there's a kind of thing, I don't know, where people talk about, you know, acting as a sort of frivolous thing to do. And actually, the older I get, even though I can take the work less seriously, so to speak, I really do believe, like during the pandemic, the things that helped people enormously. What are you watching? What are you reading? What music are you listening to? So when the arts actually isn't funded or taken seriously, it really gets on my nerves because it's just simply not true. It helps people when they're at their lowest ebb. You want someone to tell you a story. When you're a child, you know, when your parents tell you a story, it's something that human beings are able to do. It's one of the most human things that you can do. So the fact that it's not, I don't mean that it has to be everything needs to be treated, you know, very po-facedly, but I do think that it serves an incredibly important function in the world.
Work hard, have a strong work ethic, and don't be entitled. Just work your butt off. No job is too menial. Start at the beginning. Start out as a set PA. Start out as someone's assistant. Learn how the business is run. Learn how producers do it. It'll make your job easier. Learn how writers do it. Assist people who are incredibly talented, and just take their knowledge, but work your way up. And then by the time you become successful, you have an understanding of everyone who you're working with. You don't have an attitude. You don't think you're better than anybody. It's just a teamwork. Making a movie is 350 people working together, not above each other, you know. So that's the advice. Just do the work, learn it. Just don't, be eager to get your hands dirty. Don't think someone's going to hand you something and you're going to be a movie star.
Well, thank you so much.
Be a waitress for
Yes.
learn your craft.
I did an emotional memory, which is, I've now had 5 years of training. When I got blacklisted in Hollywood, I went and studied with Lee Strasberg for 5 years in New York City. So after 2.5 years of working with Strasberg, 2.5 to 5 years, he finally allows you to do an emotional memory in front of him. So you're taught through your senses, your smell, your taste, your seeing, your hearing, and your touch. So these are like the strings of your violin. You learn how to play them. So you relax totally, and in his classes, then you do a sense memory. You do them over and over and over. And a sense memory is seeing something that's not there, feeling something that's not there, hearing something that's not there. Not pantomime, not acting, but trying to really see the table with a glass table and really trying to see something on it. And then being able to touch it, being able to taste it, being able to hear it. So then when you finally do an emotional memory, you can't trick your subconscious through a conscious means. So to go into your subconscious, you have to trick yourself. I can tell you a story about, when I was a kid and my mother slapped me. And there's not much emotion in that. But to relive that experience, you can't say, okay, my mother slapped me and now I'm going to have an emotional reaction. Nothing happens. You can think about your mother slapping you as much as you want and nothing's going to happen emotionally. But if you totally relax and find all your tension areas in your body, almost as if you're going to relax and now almost to a point of sleep. And then you start with what was I wearing that day? Not what happened. If you think what happened, it's not going to happen. So you can have an emotion. But because you go to something like it's a sound actually, but you have to go through other things. You have to say, what was I wearing? Was it hot that day? And then you go to the sound, and the sound always will be the thing that emotionally affects you. Okay, so then you control it, and you put it away, and then you go out on stage and you're laughing and joking, and then they tell you that your father has died, and they bring in the telegram, and that's when you release the emotion. You can have no preconceived ideas about what your emotion is going to be, and it may be totally different than what your emotion was at the time it happened, but it will always be the same every time you do that emotional memory. Just as a footnote, there were 30 people in my class at Lee Strasberg's. About 20 of them finally arrived to do emotional memories a few years after that. It usually took about 2.5 years before he allowed you to try to do an emotional memory, which he would talk you through. About 20 of the class finally did emotional memories, and 10 of them were carted off in straitjackets because they would lose total control, start breaking things, become violent, and Mr. Strasberg, who was not a very big man, would go up and slap them and say, you must not be an actor, you must go and they would come and they'd cart them away, man. It wasn't funny at the time, it's funny now, but, and he's, because an actor must always be in control. I mean, it's always be in control. He said that there must be 10% of you always watching, always outside. It's, and you should also be able to shake it off. I mean, it's a job. It's not something you have to go home with and go, oh, I had an emotional day today. Screw that, man. Yeah. I thought I was pretty good just a moment ago. That's all I'm taking away.
If somebody doesn't have any talent, get off the stage. You're wasting my time. But if they've got it, and I'm talking about Mama Rose kind of talent, you've either got it or you've had it.
Right.
And I'll tell you, I haven't got a jealous bone in my body. I am so uplifted by seeing talent. I can't stop crying, applauding, screaming, and I had a recent, I'm so thrilled that it happened to me just a few weeks ago when I saw Christine Ebersol in Grey Gardens. That's coffee. That's coffee. That's talent.
There are not enough minutes for me to name the many people who, during my 73 years on the earth plane, have loved me into consciousness. So, I would like to share with you just 3 cardinal rules of my ability and longevity. 1, surround yourself with people whose eyes light up when they see you coming. 2, slowly is the fastest way to get to where you want to be. And 3, the top of one mountain is the bottom of the next, so keep climbing.
The thing about a life is, it's never done alone. A career as an actor is never done alone. It takes so many people to do it. I came here when I was 18 years old. Like Tim said, I literally got off of the bus and I was here on Hollywood Boulevard. I didn't go anywhere else. I came right here. I walked into the Stella Adler Conservatory, scared poopless, and there was a woman there, Joanne Linville, who said, "What are you doing here, darling?" I said, "Oh, man, I don't know. I'm 18 years old now, and I feel like I've hit the end of the road. And I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with my life. But is it too late to be an actor? Can I come here? I don't know how to audition, so I don't know what to show you. But all I know is that I want to dedicate my life to being an actor." And she said to me, "Well, that's good, darling. You're in the right place." And that was where it all started. And I took the shortcut to becoming an actor by spending 7 years at the Stella Adler Acting Academy. Yeah, because I was working on my craft, man. I came here at 18 and I believed in myself and a dream that only an 18-year-old, in a way only an 18-year-old can, totally oblivious to the fact of how freaking hard it was going to be, until that dawned on me 10 years later when I was begging my brother for money to get my car out of impound because of the 100 tickets that I didn't pay. You know what I'm talking about, Angelinos? And he said to me, "Maybe it's time to think about another career." But he gave me that money, and he always supported me. And his name's Scott Ruffalo. And he's not here with us today, but he's here, and I know you're here, Scotty. Same with my sister Tanya. They followed me out to Hollywood to follow their dreams. And my grandmother used to send me $20 a week in an envelope with a little note that said, "I believe in you. Stay put. You could do this." And that $20 bought me a bag of apples, a jar of peanut butter, and a jar of jelly, and a loaf of bread, and I lived off that. I used to walk up and down this boulevard every single day, thousands of times, and I'd mouth every single person's name, even though I don't know who half of them were. But that was so far from my experience, because I was so freaking poor, and I was starving. And I didn't have a car. And it was really hard to live in Los Angeles. But I was here with all of my friends going to school who are just the same. Who are after just the same thing. To share with the world a little bit of the greatness that they feel is inside themselves. And so I want to say to you young people here, to you actors here, it's from Stella Adler, I know you're all here. And everybody else who comes to Los Angeles with the dream, there's nothing that's difficult in life that isn't in some way worth it, whether you make it or not. And that nothing worth a good goddamn in life is easy. So hang on. Because there's no reason I should have been here. And I tried to quit 5, 6 different times. And I had people, my friends here, who said don't quit. My mom said don't quit. My brother said don't quit. My wife said don't quit. And there's no reason I should be here. But I'm here. I came here and that woman, Joanne Linville, my teacher, she showed me so much about acting. She taught me all the fundamentals of acting, but she also taught me what it was to be a human being. The generosity. Stella Adler, who's my teacher, her star is right here in front of me. And I owe her a great deal. A career as an actor is never done alone. It takes so many people to do it. So I want to say with this star, it's not just mine. It's yours. It's you folks out there who are my fans, who basically paid for us having this career. It's for you, my friends here, who've been supporting me all these years. For the other actors that I learned so much from and love so much. I appreciate y'all for your humanity. And the more we can dig in and lean into our humanity today, the better the world will be, and that's what we need. And so we love each other, love each other.